There are 3,000 of these beautiful ornate village signposts across England. But which county did they originate in and when? Find out in just a moment. On today's show, I'll be helping a very diplomatic couple who want to head east in search of the good life and the great outdoors. But it's the bathing facilities in one property which leaves them less than impressed.
Is it the only bathroom?
It is the only bathroom.
And then the mystery house has them struggling for words.
Oh. Ooh. Oh.
Oh.
Today we're in Norfolk, and it was here that these beautiful wooden and sometimes cast iron village signs were born. And not hundreds of years ago, but actually in the early 20th century. It was King Edward VII, a keen motoring enthusiast, who thought it would be jolly nice to have these painted signs in the villages on his Sandringham estate to lure in passing tourists in their newfangled cars. Nowadays there are more than 500 in the county, but it's not the only thing worth looking at in Norfolk. The most easterly county in the British Isles, Norfolk is bordered by Suffolk to the south, Lincolnshire to the north, and Cambridgeshire to the west. The fourth largest county in England, Norfolk is extremely flat, with huge swathes of the region given over to some of the country's biggest arable farms. So it's perhaps surprising that the city of Norwich is in fact one of the hilliest in the country. And it's also one of the best preserved, with over 1,500 listed buildings, many dating back to the medieval period. The Norfolk Broads have been a popular boating destination since the 1880s, when entrepreneurial boat builder John Loynes started the first yacht hire business from the village of Wroxham. And today, over 2 million tourists visit the Broads' 120 miles of waterways each year. Let's talk Norfolk property prices. Just to give you a rough idea, the average price for a detached house in the county is £212,000, which is £40,000 less than the national average. And that's great news, considering that house buyers are putting in offers 5% under the asking price and still getting it. However, if you want to live out by the coast, the news is not so good. Around the very fashionable Burnham Market and Wells, you could pay double the national average. Norfolk offers a wide range of architectural housing styles. Brick and flint-built cottages are a feature of the villages on the North Norfolk coastline. Originally used to house local farm workers, a two-bedroom property typically costs around the £250,000 mark, but highly sought-after four-bedroom homes can be in excess of £800,000. Moving inland, you'll find an array of medieval thatched cottages made with Norfolk reed, which has been used as a roofing material in this region since before Roman times. Owning a piece of this wonderful Norfolk history will set you back around £400,000 for a three-bedroom house. And many of the county's towns and villages also have fun examples of stunning symmetrical Georgian architecture. These can range in price from around £200,000 for a two-bedroom cottage to a grand house in the £1 million bracket. There are some beautiful properties here in Norfolk, not to mention some interesting architectural styles. But are any of them going to be to the taste of our couple today? Let's meet them and find out. Globe-trotting couple Richard and Kynwyn have lived all over the world, having worked for the Foreign Office. Their most recent move was 6 years ago from London to their four-bedroom house in Milton Keynes. But now it seems they've fallen out of love with the place.
Milton Keynes is evolving, and where we used to walk in open fields, there are now housing estates, and it's a car city. We have to use the car the whole time.
Yeah.
This well-travelled twosome met in the line of duty and have been married for 8 years, but they're both very different characters.
Richard eats meat, he's a real carnivore, whereas I tend to like more vegetarian food. And also Richard likes spicy food and I like Mediterranean. So Richard's got his cupboard with his spices in and I've got my cupboard with my Mediterranean spices.
Which some people might find rather strange because we're both cooking at the same time, but they're completely different meals.
So he cooks on the left-hand side and I cook on the right-hand side.
So it seems a good-sized kitchen is definitely on the wish list for their new home. And there's plenty more on the cards.
The property we're looking for needs to have at least 3 bedrooms.
Yep.
We will want to invite people to stay, so we need a spare room. I want some outside space so I can increase the size of my vegetable patch. Richard needs storage for his bicycles.
Yeah, that needs secure storage for the bikes. There needs to be.
Yeah.
So it's a garage.
And it's East Anglia where they hope to find just the property they're looking for.
We're looking to move to Norfolk. It's got some fantastic properties, some fantastic opportunities there. I don't think by moving there we'd have to slow our life down. I still think we're going to find we can pursue the hobbies we have here, but without so much of the commuting, or with the feel of a commuter city.
Richard and Kindwin love to keep fit and enjoy exploration, and they manage to combine both passions through their choice of hobbies.
Cycling's a passion of mine. I've been cycling for a couple of years. This is my Bianchi. We've taken it over the Pyrenees.
Also, I've taken up Nordic walking since I've been here. And that's because of a neighbour who introduced me to it. And it's fantastic here, going out on the redways and the paths and down by the river. Absolutely lovely. I go out at the weekends. And I don't care about the funny looks and people shouting, "You've lost your skis."
And it seems this pair are always ready to live life to the full.
We dress up. We go to things like the Whitby Goth Festival, which a lot of people would say, "Woo, goth, that's got to be weird." It's not. There are up to 5,000 people all dressed up, from children to 80-year-olds, all wearing Victorian costume.
Well, we may even be able to find this fun-loving couple a Victorian property to match. But that all depends on how much they have to spend.
The budget for our move is up to £285,000 for the right property.
Our last 2 houses have really been, or I've articulated that we should have. So it's really her turn to say, this is the house for us.
Richard and Kindwin would like us to concentrate our search in the north of Norfolk, within reasonable distance of Norwich, but not too far from the coast. I met up with them on local soil to discover more about what they're looking for in their new property. Welcome you two to Norfolk. So what are your top 3 qualities for this property? Because it's a big move for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, we moved to Milton Keynes initially because it was a quieter place than London, where we previously lived. But we're finding it's getting busier. And so you find Norfolk, because it's out of the way, it is that quietness that we're seeking.
I'd like to be on the edge of a village, I think, and I like the community of a village. Kind of like a house with some character this time. We love our modern house that we've got in Milton Keynes, but it'd be nice to have something with character.
And in terms of budget, how much have you got to spend?
Well, about 285,000. We might be able to push it a little bit further for the right property.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Let's go and find you a house.
Yep.
For their budget of £285,000, Richard and Kindwin have a small but definite list of demands. They'd like a kitchen diner they can both cook in at the same time, 3 bedrooms, a large enough garden for growing vegetables, and a secure garage for Richard's road bikes. We found 3 fantastic properties for them to have a look at, but I won't be revealing the price of each until they've had a guess first. The last of these is, as ever, the mystery house, which will offer them the very quietest of neighbours. Time to get this property hunt on the road. So you're quite keen to be in the community, not to be too remote?
Yeah, we don't want to be too remote. We'd like a sort of village hall and a local pub with local beers, the community shop, a real sort of community spirit. It's something that I grew up with, so it would be quite nice to get back to that.
Our first property is in North Elmham, a village which dates back to Anglo-Saxon times and is set in a conservation area 20 miles from the Norfolk coast. You'll find every amenity here, from a doctor's surgery and a pub, with a carvery for that Sunday lunch, to a post office and a local store for shopping. House number 1 is a traditional flint and brick cottage, which I think will surprise our buyers. How old do you think it is?
Well, I think it's quite modern. It's not an old traditional one.
Yeah.
But
It's actually only 7 years old. And the lovely story is that it was bought, there was an old cottage there, and the owner redid all the foundations and then built up, using the same materials, built up a new property.
oh, that's clever.
So all the flint is recycled.
That looks really good, and it's inviting.
Yeah.
This house combines period detail with the modern elements of their current home, as they'll discover when we go inside. Come in to a possible Norfolk nest for you both. Oh. So lovely oak floors throughout. I'm going to take you straight through into the
Lovely stairs.
sitting room.
Oh, that's a nice size.
This is nice.
Now, it's a very simple layout, this house. It's basically sitting room, kitchen, diner. But nice big rooms, lovely oak beams. Not going to bang your head on that.
No, not.
Tell me what you think. Come on, unpack your thoughts.
No, it's
Well, I have to say I'm not a fan of wood burners. I'd rather have an open fire.
Right.
I don't really get those, but I love the fireplace.
and it's the way they've also made it uneven.
Yeah, and
And
you've
the
got
ceiling's
a
one
chimney
thing,
breast and
Yeah.
you know
Oh, you
somewhere
can
to put your books. We could put bookshelves in there.
And you can paint that jazzy orange.
Oh, I could. Yeah.
Jazzy orange. You're going to paint something jazzy orange. So they're painting this place already. Always a good sign. And I've got a feeling the kitchen diner could be just what Richard and Kindwen are looking for.
Oh, I'm in love.
Really? Oh, I like that. Why do you say that?
Well, when we were asked what sort of kitchen we wanted, I think there was an idea that we wanted a big kitchen because we both cook.
Yeah.
But what we need is a practical kitchen where there's room for both of us to be moving around. And our current kitchen has an island in the middle. And it's just a bit of a nuisance. And this is just so lovely and open. And
You're very contrary. He's like, I don't like log burners. Everybody on this show says, oh, I really want a log burner. Everybody on this show says, I want an island. And you don't.
No.
We stop off in the little kitchen here because it has some features.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant.
So we're getting all sorts of good vibes off the two of you.
Absolutely.
Any
Yeah.
drawbacks so far?
There's no cat flap, but we can sort that out.
If that's your only problem, we're doing all right. Let's peek upstairs. You've got 3 bedrooms,
Oh, right.
2 doubles, which you can have a peek at there. They're being used as kids' rooms. Then you've got a very nice family bathroom, nicely lit.
That's quirky. I like that.
And then this would be your room.
This is the master. Oh, with an well, I would have
So
expected
dual
that.
aspect and lots of storage.
It's quite a
Ensuite.
deceptive house. I think I was expecting the main bedroom to be smaller than this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really good size, and again you've got the detailing in the ceiling. It's not just all flat and straight.
But it's the way it runs through the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very clever.
With the interior of this property going down a storm, the pressure is on for the outside space. And while there's a lawn, a patio with seating and a storage area which might just be suitable for Richard's bikes, there's not a great deal of room for the desired vegetable plot.
That is quite a major drawback. It's quite disappointing.
But in the village there are allotments.
I thought you might say that.
And there's one free at the moment.
Ah,
With a very, very cheap rent every year. So
okay.
Right.
that might be an option. Obviously that's not ideal, but
No.
yeah.
And I think whilst I can see that bikes are kept in the shed here, I think keeping my road bikes out in somewhere like that, certainly as insecure as that, would be a bit of a concern for me. It's,
Yeah, they are.
So you really want a kind of a secure lock-up garage?
Ideally.
yeah, I think so.
Actually, there are garages next door which belong to the owner of this one. I don't know whether he's planning to sell it. It's something you could negotiate with him.
Yeah, you might be prepared to rent one to us.
I suppose
look
it's,
into
you
that.
need to think about whether the garden is a deal breaker and also whether you
Yeah.
can afford it. How much do you think it costs?
Well, I think it's a lovely house, and I've fallen for it, so I think it's probably top of the budget.
That's good psychology. Okay.
Ever the optimist, I'm going to say 275.
275. Well, if you split the difference, and you'd be on the money because it's just £500 short of 280.
Really?
Has that made it more difficult for you now? It's still in budget.
Yeah, it does, because say the garden space does let it down, but it's so homely. It feels like a home already.
Have a look around, inside and out, and see what you think.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This character meets modern home is on the market at a shade under £280,000. And it offers a great deal of what they want. It has a spacious kitchen diner with room for them both to cook at once, 3 bedrooms, storage space for Richard's bikes, and a small garden, but there is potential to rent an allotment just down the road so they can grow their veg.
It's a beautiful house. I really love it. I feel really at home. Good sized rooms. I love the kitchen.
I think the only issue that we have, and I think we both agree on this, is that the garden is just a little bit too small. Kyrene does like doing her gardening.
I think it's a brilliant location, and it's in exactly the area we would have been looking, up towards the Norfolk coast, but not too close. So yes, an absolutely brilliant start. I'm very impressed.
As well as its famously flat landscape and expansive skyline, Norfolk's coast is beautifully unspoilt and dotted with historic towns with a rich maritime history, such as Wells next the sea. This town has been a port for around 700 years, and over that time not only has it been a thriving centre for shipping, it's also been a haven for 18th century smugglers. Known locally just as Wells, the town provides access to Holcombe Beach, a half-hour walk away, which is one of the largest nature reserves in the country. It forms part of the North Norfolk Coast Path, which covers 93 miles and would certainly provide great walking and cycling territory for our buyers. Close by is the spectacular Palladian-style mansion Holcombe Hall, which has been home to the Cook family for almost 400 years. As keen history lovers, earlier in the week we arranged for Richard and Kynwyn to meet up with the estate's director, David Horton-Fawkes, for a tour.
The estate that you see today was really developed and built by Thomas William Cook, who is perhaps best known to your children and mine through something called the four-course rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And Holcombe was at the centre of the agricultural revolution.
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So the four-course rotation
Yes.
refers to a particular way of cropping.
Yes.
And he worked out that the way you could get the highest yields from the land was to rotate your crop. So the four-course rotation really enabled the country to feed itself. And it's one of the reasons why we're particularly proud to work at Holcombe, because it was an estate that was founded on such a noble principle.
Completed in 1764, the hall is built from buff-coloured brick, which was produced by the estate's own brickworks. And it's referred to by many as the finest example of a Palladian house in England.
What is Palladian?
Palladian is named after an Italian architect called Palladio, and I think it refers to the particular style,
Okay.
which I think is dominated by those sort of pillars.
Right. And the current family, they live here, don't they?
Yes, the family live in about a quarter of what is a massive house, and the rest of it is open to the public.
Doesn't the estate own the beach as well?
The estate owns the beach. It's the best known part of Holcombe, and it has been the location for many famous films, including Shakespeare in Love, and almost more famously for The Duchess, which was filmed inside the Marble Hall.
The Marble Hall, with its lofty vaulted space rising the full height of the house, was once described by an 18th century visitor as the grandest thing of the sort in England. The European-inspired columns that run around it are all made from pink Derbyshire alabaster. They're not solid, but have load-bearing wooden cores under the outer alabaster sheath.
Holcombe is very much the product of something called the Grand Tour, which Thomas William Cook undertook when he was a young man. And therefore the statuary, the style, was all built to look after this amazing collection that he accumulated on his Grand Tour.
The vast old kitchen was refurbished in the 1850s when the massive range was installed, and it continued in operation right up to the outbreak of the Second World War. The hall's most famous visitor was Queen Victoria, who stayed here in 1835 as a 16-year-old princess, sleeping in this very grand bed in the Green State Bedroom. But for now, it's time to return to our hunt to find somewhere very special for Richard and Kynwyn to lay their heads. We've travelled nearly 28 miles northwest of Norwich to Wissenset, an ancient village which appears in the Domesday Book. It has a wealth of attractive brick properties, a very grand Norman church, a local butcher, a post office and a village hall for community entertainment. Our second property is a very different proposition from our first house, as here you get 3 mid-19th century agricultural workers' cottages, all for the price of one.
Is it all of it?
All of it.
Oh.
Is it? You can see with the three doors that it was originally.
So it might be quite
properties.
quirky inside?
Quirky, is that a good? I have to check whether it's a good or a bad thing for you, because you're all topsy-turvy of what you like and don't like.
Yeah. Well, I like interesting,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
As long
So
as
the
it's
fine line
usable.
between quirky and interesting. The other one you could move straight in,
Yeah.
but you didn't get the garden. Here, I think you'd probably want to do a bit of work inside.
Okay.
Okay. How do you feel about projects?
Um,
You both took early retirement.
well, we know a man who could probably do it for
Yeah,
us.
we'll get somebody in to do it.
That sort of project.
Yes, that. Yeah.
Let's have a look. Let's
Yeah,
see what you think. Well, a project may not be what they're after, but let's see if the interior can win them over. Come on in. Now, the thing about this house as we go around is I think you're probably going to want to think about the flow of it all, because, of course, it is 3 cottages, one
Yeah.
after another. Let's start in the kitchen. Into the kitchen.
Right.
So you...
Well, we've got
Yeah.
the island. We've already got an island.
Yes. This is not an island, actually. I
This is-
checked. When I came in, I checked. It moves. They'll take that with them.
Okay.
Oh, right, yeah.
So we'll
Great.
just be a kitchen.
Those sinks, which I know are so trendy.
You don't like those either?
I grew up with one of those in an old
You
Victorian
are so
house.
perverse. All the things
And
that
if
all
you-
the people on this show adore.
If you drop a plate, it just smashes. To me,
you want
to
a
me,
rubber sink, no island,
bouncy plate.
no log burners, no traditional
so
ranges.
awkward, aren't I?
So far, this property is bringing back bad memories for Kynwyn. Here's hoping our next room is more to her taste. This is the extension, so this was added on in the 90s.
Okay. So you got a bit more headroom.
Much more headroom, yes, the height
I mean,
of
that's
the
great.
extension.
I love the wood up there and the window
Yeah.
and...
But it's quite narrow. It feels quite tight.
It's definitely, I think, a house where you have to strip all the furniture out and think about actually what you've got.
Yeah.
Look at all convinced. Oh well, you can't win them all. And fingers crossed the next room won't prove a further disadvantage. Now, I'm hoping this is not going to swing it to you too far on the other way, but there is a downstairs bathroom.
Right. Is it the only bathroom?
It is the only. So a downstairs bathroom's not Kynwyn's cup of tea either. Can the living room save us?
Okay.
It's a nice big fireplace.
Actually, I quite like that wood burner.
because you can see the
You
flames.
can see the flames, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the room?
I'm not sure. I'm finding it difficult to see past the amount of furniture, I think.
I think the other thing for us is we'd have to go having a look at our furniture all over again. So a corner sofa
Yeah.
might just get in here, but we've got
But it
a
wouldn't
big step
work.
cabinet. There isn't a big enough wall to put that against. So we'd have to think where all of that would go.
Upstairs, there's a quirky double room with painted exposed timbers and floorboards. And they've used the same effect with a more bold colour scheme in this single bedroom. Also up here is a third bedroom with space for a double bed. But we're heading for where Richard and Kynwyn might sleep. Come on in. This is the, well, they're using this as the master bedroom.
Well, this is a nice room. And you've got ceiling height in here.
And again, there's some lovely features, but it's
So
big furniture.
Yeah, but
I think it's just the...
it is very much as well a country cottage.
This is a bit too
This
historical.
I think I'd enjoy coming here for a holiday or visiting friends here, and I'd find it quite fascinating. But I think I'd find it difficult to live in something that's as interesting as this.
With the interesting interior proving a bit of a challenge, can the garden be a game changer in this property? Well, there's a spacious lawn with seating which offers plenty of room for vegetable plots and pottering. And the big plus is a secure garage for Richard's bikes. In terms of garden space, is this what you're looking for? Is this enough space?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's more than we've got at the moment.
Yeah, it is bigger than we've got, and it's more adaptable, I think, for doing different things in.
Yeah, a lot of potential.
I can see you have some question marks about the actual property inside. What do you think it's worth? What do you think the price of this whole package is?
It's really hard. I'm just a bit torn about whether it be more than the last property or less. But I'm going to go for 269.
So less. Okay.
269. I'm going to go on budget at 285.
285.
Yeah, because the amount of land.
It's actually on at 280, so it's still in budget.
Oh.
Right.
But why don't you have a look inside, because we did sort of rush around it. It is quite a confusing layout, and we'll give you a chance to look upstairs and see if there's anything you could modify to make it work for you.
Okay.
And I'll see you up front.
All right then, thanks.
So, much better response to the garden. Tick for the garden. Big question mark about the house. It's kind of the reverse of this morning, where we had big tick for the house, question mark about the garden. House buying, it's so frustrating. This unique and charming cottage is under budget at £280,000 and gives them a great deal of what they're after. It has a large kitchen with room for 2 chefs, 4 bedrooms, loads of growing space in the garden for their vegetable plot, and a secure garage for Richard's bikes.
When we first walked up, it's very different from the first property. In its age, I always thought I'd be after a house that was a little more in the country style, but I think it's helped me galvanise my views on quite what we are looking for, in that 3 cottages into one isn't really working for us.
Nice sized garden, absolutely great. That would work really well for the vegetable growing and an ornamental garden. That's absolutely perfect, but unfortunately the house wouldn't work for us.
This cottage literally has roses around the door. Hello.
Hello.
You're done?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, 2 properties down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time for a rest. As dusk falls over the Norfolk countryside, it marks the end of a day with a few highs and a few lows in our property search. Today's globe-trotting couple, Richard and Kynwyn, want to bid farewell to their home in Milton Keynes and head for an active but quieter life in Norfolk. So far they've fallen in love with some flint and brick, but have been underwhelmed by a traditional cottage. However, coming up, there's all the peace they could ask for in our mystery house.
Always going to be nice and quiet next door, isn't it?
Super quiet, dead quiet. And I visit a goat farm to meet one of their latest arrivals. Hello, little sunshine. It's a lovely misty morning here in Norfolk and day 2 of our property search. And I think we've decided after the last property that Richard and Kynwyn don't really want a historical higgledy-piggledy home. So, in that slightly contrary mystery house way that we have, we're going to show them a Grade 2 listed, attached, very rural cottage. None of which was on their wish list, but you know what? I think they might love it. What do you think the mystery house is going to be?
Probably a thatch with a wood burner, a country range cooker, and a butler sink.
Yeah. And 3 islands.
And a downstairs bathroom.
We've travelled 12 miles northwest of Norwich, close to the market town of Reefham. It's full of pretty, characterful cottages and quaint road names. And its past claim to fame is that up to the 16th century, it had 3 operating churches sharing the same graveyard. These days, only 2 remain. Our mystery house is located just a mile away and is set in the secluded and very rural village of Great Witchingham. 3, 2, 1, open your eyes. Oh. Ooh. Oh.
Oh,
That-
yeah. What is it?
Nameless grunting, that's the sort of response I want. It's excellent.
I want to get inside and have a look.
Yeah,
I just don't know what it is.
I think I like it.
I like the windows.
Well, we brought you outside the back because there's this on your right. You thought might fit in with your Gothic predilection.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, lovely tree.
Always going to be nice and quiet next door, isn't it?
Super quiet, dead quiet.
And lots of garden.
And lots of garden. Any thoughts about the house, although we haven't been inside?
Is it semi-detached?
It might be, just a little bit. Just along one wall.
Otherwise, it would just be almost too perfect.
Right. Well, it's rural.
It
I have to say it is rural, and it is attached,
Right.
and it is listed.
Ah.
Oh no, the L word, listed, and it was all going so well. But after the issue of too much furniture in the last property, they may well appreciate the fact that this one is empty. Come on in, straight into the kitchen.
Ooh, an island.
An island.
But
So is that
it's
two
brand new and empty.
It is brand new and no furniture, so you're going to have to use your imagination. As you can see, very modern,
Yes.
walnut tops on all the surfaces, and then you've got space here for an American-style fridge freezer.
Yeah.
Very
I
modern.
like the way we can look around something without too much stuff in it. So we can start imagining where we put our things without too much effort. So it's nice to see a house like this.
Well, I'm fascinated. I can't wait to see the rest of it.
That's a great start. I hope they like the rest of the house as much as the kitchen. On the ground floor, there's also a snug, or dining room, and a sitting room with patio doors into the garden. A very simple layout, like the first house. It's the kitchen and the sitting room.
It just feels a bit small.
Yeah, and we talked about whether, when we look at the size of houses, whether we want to change all of the furniture. Is it something that we're prepared to do? Are we prepared to dump everything we've got and start again, as we know others have done? And we're not sure whether we're ready to do that just yet. So we are looking for a place with an eye to getting our current furniture in.
Sure.
And it is quite large.
This is the biggest room and very high ceilings for a
Yeah.
period property.
Yeah.
The other room is a bit more snug, hence the name. Mind your head. Actually, you might not have to mind my head. Only I have to mind my head.
No, even in my heels I don't. It's a log burner.
It is a lot good. It's only you that doesn't like them. Every country house seems to have them.
Oh, it's a great room. I love it.
It's charming, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. I think sitting on a sofa and lower down, you're looking up. It's the trees and
Yeah, what sort of...
this kind of view.
No, I like this. Yes.
Yeah, I like this.
So the cosy snug appears to have warmed their hearts. Now let's head upstairs and see what this house has to offer on the first floor. Each of the 3 bedrooms in this property has its own ensuite bathroom, which is very unusual for a period building. I mean, you could take your pick really which one's the master, but this is lovely because it has views of the church and it's very sunny.
I think the windows are at a great height if you're in bed and looking out. But as you stand here, your eye line is at the wall and it's above the window. So you find yourself
Drawn to the gravestones.
doing this. Yeah, you're looking down onto gravestones, which is different.
You're goths.
At the weekend.
You dance around graves.
It's a nice room. I like the room, and I see we've got an ensuite. I like that.
Well, they've all got
Oh,
ensuites, all 3 rooms.
So it'd be a great place for having family to stay.
The upstairs has passed the test with flying colours. Now for the all-important grounds. We've seen the garden, but we need to set Richard's mind at rest about storage for his road bikes. This is a great building because this used to be the wash house. If you look inside, you can still see the original wash copper
wow.
Yeah.
and the fire.
And a perfect place for the bikes.
Was there space there to do a bit of maintenance on them as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's perfect.
How much do you think this is on the market for?
I think this one's going to be over budget because it's near on perfect for what we wanted. I'm going to go with 295.
Yeah, I agree with Kyron. It's got everything there, the size of the land, the quality of the refurb. I'd go about 300,000.
In this case, Kyron was spot on. It's on the market at 295. You know, with the leeway of sensible offers.
Right.
It's only been on the market 2 months.
It draws you.
Well, let it draw you in, and I'll meet you at the front once you've had a little look around.
Okay, thanks.
On the market at £295,000, this house is £10,000 over their budget. But as properties are selling around 5% lower, it could fall within range. And it has everything they asked us to find. A beautifully fitted, spacious kitchen diner, 3 good-sized bedrooms, all with en-suites, a large garden with potential for veg growing, and a brick outbuilding for bike storage.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's a lovely place. It's very quiet. It's quite secluded. But I came to this area without having any idea about what we were going to see. And I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised by what you've brought us to.
I love the garden, and I'm very impressed with how the house has been renovated. It has a lovely feeling to it. I can imagine feeling very at home here. Unfortunately, it's just a bit too small.
Time to gather the troops. Guys, where are you? Oh, in the snug. Very good. You all done?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you head down to the car, time to gather our thoughts. When you think of farming in Norfolk, it's most likely the huge arable super farms which spring to mind. And the vast majority of Norfolk's farmers are indeed crop growers. But there's a new emerging face of agriculture here, and it's the only one of its kind in the county. I got up at the crack of dawn to find out more. 6 o'clock in the morning, on escape, that usually means that we're going to see some cows being milked. But, look, the goats. Goats are one of the oldest domesticated species, and I'm meeting Sam Steggles, who has been running his business since 2009, producing goat's milk, which he uses to make cheese and more recently soap. Morning, Sam. Morning.
Morning.
He now has a herd of over 100. So, goat's milk. What's the benefit of goat's milk?
People that have intolerances to cow's milk seem to get on quite well with goat's milk. The fat globules in goat's milk are more easily digestible than that of cow's milk.
Oh, right.
Basically, what we have to do is put the goat's teats in there. Just go for it.
Oh, hello. So how often do they get milk today?
Twice a day. These ones have already kidded.
I see.
So that's then when we get the milk. We're big into the local thing.
Yeah.
From where our goats are housed, milked, and where the cheese is made, it's only 20 metres. So we're not traipsing milk halfway across the country.
Sam sells his products through local farm shops and farmers markets, as well as supplying delis and restaurants in the area. On average, a good quality dairy goat will provide almost 3 litres of milk per day. As for baby goats, a pregnant female's gestation period lasts around 150 days, the most common result being twins. I think there's a kid coming. There's a kid coming. And as luck would have it, I've got the chance to witness a live birth. I'm coming in. I'm going in. Live birth. Oh, hello, little sunshine. Hello. Hello.
So we'll let her clean it up and then she'll have another one, I think.
That was so beautiful. Good. Welcome. Welcome to the world. Try it. They stand up at such a little age. Animals are amazing, aren't they? They get born and then it's barely a few minutes and she's taken a few steps.
Yep, absolutely.
This latest addition to Sam's farm is an alpine goat. However, most of the herd are British Saanen goats like this little fella, as both breeds are known to be good milkers. So this chap is only a few days old?
Yes, this one was born, today's Friday, he was born yesterday morning.
Big and strong, big and strong. You're going to be big and strong. So with these adorable new additions to the farm, let's find out if Norfolk could soon be adding to its human population in the form of Richard and Kynwyn. This is the bit of the show where you give me your feedback on the houses that you've seen. The first one was in a smallish village. I mean, it's probably the biggest of all the villages we showed you. What were your thoughts about that?
Well, I like the village. You can feel a sense of community.
And what about the property?
Yeah, the property. The property was so right in so many ways.
Yeah, I like that house a lot. The kitchen was great, absolutely spot on. It would have given both of us, room to be in there together.
Just the garden was a
deal breaker. It was a disappointment with the
garden.
Yeah.
How about the second house? That's a different response.
A different reaction, wasn't it? Yeah, we're not ready for that. It was a little too small on the room size. And there would be some work we'd have to do, and I don't really think it's not for me.
But outside, perfect size garden for everything that we'd want to do.
How about the mystery house?
It was probably rather more rural than we'd been thinking of, but such a pretty house. Lots of character retained within the house, but modernised. And that garden is to die for.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that garden.
It was a great location, but as you say, quite rural.
Yeah.
So I get the impression that you're probably not going to proceed on any of those, or am I wrong?
We know that this is the area we want to be in,
yeah.
And what we've done over the last couple of days has confirmed that. But I think we're going to need to continue the search.
But I think it has helped us clarify what we're looking for in a huge way. The cottage idea and the mod cons and the size,
but
the garden's important, all those key.
What we can get for our money. And I think we might actually go back to the first village and have a look at what else is on offer.
I think we'll go back there. There were a few houses for sale there.
Well, I'm really glad that we've ignited your enthusiasm for Norfolk and made it happen, because this is a fairly new project, isn't it, for you to move out here?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Norfolk really came up trumps for us this week. I think for their budget, we found Richard and Kynwyn some really stunning properties. And the thing is, they've only just started looking. Their house hunt is pretty fresh. So I think even though we didn't quite get them what they want, it went a long way to focusing their mind on the elements of their house hunt that are most important to them. So I hope you've enjoyed it too, and that you will join us for more beautiful properties on Escape to the Country. If you'd like to escape to the country in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland or England and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.